Every day you wait is a day you stay the same, but every day you improve, even just 1%. You create a future most people will never have. That's the truth no one teaches you. They tell you to dream big, to work hard, to stay positive, but they don't show you how to grow in real life. They don't tell you the secret. Real change comes from small wins stacked daily, not from motivation or luck. Completing lesson number 7, 1% better every day. The secret they don't teach you isn't just a title, it's a mindset, it's a strategy, it's a way of life for people who are tired of feeling behind and ready to take control. In this message, you'll learn what actually works. No fluff, no hype, just clear, simple steps that help you move forward, one action at a time. If you've ever felt stuck, unmotivated, or like change is too far away, this will shift how you see your time, your habits, and your potential. This is not about perfection. This is about progress that sticks. Starting today. Chapter 1. Take one step today you usually avoid taking. Most people know exactly what they need to do. That's not the problem. The problem is they keep skipping over it. They know there's one step they need to take, something uncomfortable, something they've put off, but they avoid it. They say they'll do it tomorrow. They say they're thinking about it, but in reality, they're scared of it. They're afraid of failing. They're afraid it will change things, but growth starts the moment you face that fear. You don't need to overhaul your entire life today. You just need to take the step you've been avoiding. It might feel small to others, but it's huge for you. Maybe it's saying no when you always say yes. Maybe it's getting out of bed on time. Maybe it's telling the truth when you've been quiet. The world teaches you to look for motivation or inspiration, but nobody teaches you the secret. The uncomfortable step you keep avoiding is the only thing standing between who you are and who you could become. That's the truth. The longer you avoid it, the longer you stay stuck. So today, forget the excuses and take that one step. That's how 1% better begins. Taking action doesn't require perfection. It just requires honesty. You have to look at yourself and admit what you're running from. Every single day we make choices, and one of the biggest choices is whether we do what's necessary or what's easy. You can fool people around you, you can even keep smiling, but you can't fool yourself. Deep down, you know what you've been avoiding. You feel it when you wake up. It bothers you at night, that step you keep pushing aside. It doesn't go away, it waits. It grows heavier. That's why some people feel tired without even doing much. Their mind is tired from holding on to things they haven't faced. Progress comes when you face what you don't want to face. That's the beginning of discipline. That's when you stop hoping and start changing. The 1% rule isn't about motivation. It's about doing the hard things first. The uncomfortable, the awkward, the unfamiliar. That's how you grow. That's how you build trust with yourself. Because nothing changes until you change your behavior. And you don't need a massive shift. You just need to start doing what you've been pretending not to see. There's a certain pain that comes from staying the same. People don't talk about it, but it's real. It's the pain of regret. It's the weight of knowing you could have done something, but you didn't. And that pain grows slowly. It doesn't show up all at once. It creeps in when you look at your life and realize months have passed and nothing has changed. Not because you weren't capable, but because you didn't take that first step. Avoidance is the enemy of growth. Every time you delay that step, you teach your mind that comfort matters more than progress, and that belief becomes a habit, a dangerous one. That's why you need to stop saying someday. You need to act today. Even if it's just one small step, that's enough. That's how progress starts, not with a big breakthrough, but with a quiet decision to stop avoiding. That decision changes everything. Appalling with the decision to stop avoiding. That decision changes everything. It rewires your mindset. It rebuilds your confidence. Because you're finally doing something that moves you forward. That's 1% better. And that's powerful, because when you keep repeating that, you won't even recognize who you were a year ago. Nobody teaches you how to handle the fear that comes with growth. Most of us were never shown how to face the unknown. We were taught to play it safe, stay comfortable, don't risk failure. But safety doesn't lead to change, and comfort doesn't build confidence. You gain confidence by taking action, even while you're afraid, even when you're unsure. Think about it. What's the thing you know you need to do, but it makes your stomach turn? What's the conversation you've been avoiding? What's the routine you keep saying you'll start tomorrow? That's the step. That's your starting point. Take it. You don't need to be confident before you act. You gain confidence after you act. That's the part no one teaches. Most people wait to feel ready. But readiness doesn't come. Action creates readiness. Movement creates motivation. Start before you feel like it. Start while it's messy. Start when you're not sure how it ends. That's how you build momentum. That's how people change their lives, one step at a time, one hard moment at a time. And eventually, what once scared you becomes part of who you are. There's no secret formula. It's simple. You either do the work or you don't. You either face the thing you're avoiding or you stay where you are. Everyone wants growth, but not everyone wants to go through discomfort. And that's the difference. Growth isn't found in information. It's found in action. Real change happens when you stop negotiating with yourself. When you say, I don't feel like it, but I'm doing it anyway. That's strength. That's how you take control of your life. The step you're avoiding is always louder in your mind than it is in reality. It looks big from a distance. But the moment you take it, you realize it's not as bad as you thought, and now you've taken power back. You've proved to yourself that you're not controlled by fear, you're not controlled by comfort, you're not controlled by delay, that one action can change your entire rhythm. You walk differently, you think differently, because you've stepped through the thing most people avoid their entire lives. You've moved from stuck to progress. And it started with one decision. If you want to feel proud, stop waiting for motivation and take responsibility for your next move. One of the most powerful feelings in the world is when you do something you've been avoiding for a long time. It's not even about the result, it's about the relief, the mental freedom, the sense that you're finally showing up for your own life. We've been taught to measure success by big goals, but the truth is, daily self-respect matters more, and self-respect comes from action. Every time you do what you said you would do, you grow a little. You feel lighter. You feel stronger. It's not about perfection. It's about being honest with yourself. Ask yourself this. When was the last time you followed through on something that scared you? When was the last time you stopped running from the hard thing? That's the difference between staying the same and becoming better. Nobody's coming to force you. Nobody's coming to rescue you. You are the one who has to decide. And the good news is, it only takes one step. Take it. Feel the fear. And do it anyway. We all have something we avoid. You're not weak for feeling that resistance. You're human. But here's the truth. You don't grow by avoiding what challenges you. You grow by facing it head on. Some people wait their whole life to feel ready. But ready doesn't come. Clarity doesn't come from thinking. It comes from doing. That's why you must stop waiting for a sign. You don't need more signs. You need more action. The longer you sit in hesitation, the heavier everything feels. That's why you feel stuck. That's why your energy is low. It's not because you're lazy. It's because you're drained from carrying unfinished decisions. You can change that today. You can take one real step, not a big leap, just one step you've been avoiding. And once you take it, you start feeling alive again. You start feeling proud again, because you're no longer stuck in your own mind. You're moving. And movement builds strength. If you want to build a better life, start by doing what most people avoid. That's how you separate yourself from average. Here's what's important. What you do when no one's watching matters more than what you say when they are. You don't have to announce your step. You don't have to post about it. You just need to take it. Quiet progress is the most powerful kind. Because it's real, it's not for attention, it's for your future. That step you keep skipping, it's personal. It's something only you understand, and that's okay. You don't need to explain it to anyone, just act on it. Because every time you take that kind of step, you build something inside that nobody can take from you. That's self-belief. That's self-discipline. That's self-mastery. And those are the things that will carry you forward when life gets hard. Motivation fades, applause fades. But self-respect, that lasts. And it starts by doing the work no one sees. It starts by choosing the step no one forces you to take. That's real power. That's real growth. Take that step today, and you'll thank yourself tomorrow. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need a detailed blueprint. You need action. The step you're avoiding doesn't require more thought. It requires courage. And courage doesn't mean you feel confident. It means you do it even when you don't. Most of life's rewards don't go to the smartest or the most talented. They go to the ones who move. The ones who don't let fear stop them. You've waited long enough. You've thought about it long enough. You've talked yourself out of it long enough. Now, it's time to make a new choice. The kind of choice that creates a better future. Not overnight, but over time. That's the 1% better rule. Small actions, daily effort, honest steps. Over time, they stack up into something life-changing. But it all begins with the step you've been dodging. Today, you stop dodging. Today, you step in. When you look back 6 months from now, what will you remember? The comfort you protected, or the step you took that changed everything? That's the question you must answer. You don't get better by accident, you get better by choice. And today you have that choice. Don't underestimate what one action can do. One step can start a habit. One habit can shift your mindset. That mindset can shape your future. You don't need permission. You don't need the perfect timing. You just need to decide. Do what you've been avoiding. It might feel small. It might feel scary. But it's real, and it matters. That one action can break a cycle. That one choice can build momentum. That's the secret they don't teach you. The one uncomfortable step you usually avoid is the exact one that will make you stronger. Take it today. That's how you get 1% better every single day. Chapter 2. Own your choices instead of blaming your life. There comes a point where you have to stop looking around and start looking within. It's easy to point at life and say, "This is why I'm not where I want to be." It's easy to blame your parents, your past, your job, your environment, your education, your health, or your relationships. But here's the truth. Every time you blame something outside of you, you give away your power. You hand it over. And when you do that, you also hand over the chance to grow. You stay stuck because you've convinced yourself someone else is responsible for how your life feels. But no matter where you've come from, no matter how hard it's been, you're still the one making decisions every day. And those decisions are shaping your future, not your background, not your circumstances, your choice. It takes real strength to look in the mirror and say, I've made choices that led me here. That's not weakness. That's ownership. That's how personal power is built. Because when you admit you've made certain choices, good or bad, you also admit that you can make new ones. You stop waiting for someone to save you. You stop needing things to be perfect. You realize that responsibility is freedom. When it's all on you, you finally have the ability to change it, and that changes everything. You begin to move differently, you speak differently, you think differently. Not because life got easier, but because you decided to take control of it. Life is not fair. That's a given. But fairness has never been a requirement for growth. If you keep focusing on what life did to you, you'll miss the part where you could have done something with it. We've all been hurt. We've all been held back in one way or another. Some people face more pain than others. That's real. But some of those same people rise anyway, not because they were lucky, but because they refused to let life be the reason they stayed broken. They owned their situation. They said, I didn't choose this, but I choose what I do next. That's the mindset that changes your future. You stop being a victim and you start being a builder. You can't control everything, but you can control how you respond. And that response is where your power lives. Do you stay bitter or do you get better? Do you keep blaming your upbringing or do you work to become the person you wish raised you? Do you keep repeating the cycle or do you decide to break it for good? Every single choice you make is a vote for the life you're building. So ask yourself, what kind of life are you building with your choices right now? Not the ones you talk about, the ones you actually make every day. Most people don't realize how often they're giving their power away. When you say, I can't help it, that's just how I am, you're giving your power away. When you say, I would have done better if they treated me differently, you're giving your power away. When you say, I'm too tired, too late, too behind, you're handing your future to the excuses. But when you own your choices, you get to say, I might not like where I am, but I'm not staying here. And that's when momentum begins. You stop reacting and start deciding. You stop blaming and start building. It's uncomfortable at first. That's why so few people do it. It's easier to find someone or something else to blame than it is to admit you've been in your own way. It's easier to point fingers than to point inward. But if you want real change, lasting change, it starts with full responsibility. Not half, not when it's convenient, full responsibility. That means every choice, every reaction, every pattern, every decision. You own it, not because you want to feel guilty. This isn't about guilt. It's about taking the driver's seat. Because if you're not driving, someone else is. And nobody else should be driving your life. Sometimes people say, but I didn't choose what happened to me. That's true. Many things happen to us that we didn't ask for. But what matters more is what you choose to do now. Life is not about avoiding pain. It's about how you respond to it. You can either carry it like a weight that drags you down, or you can use it like a tool to make you stronger. You can say, this broke me, or you can say, this built me, and whichever one you choose will shape the rest of your life. That's the power of ownership. It gives you your future back. You might not be able to change your past. You might not be able to erase what hurt you. but you can decide what to do with it, and that decision is yours alone. You can keep repeating the same story about why things didn't work out, or you can write a new one starting today. That's the beauty of choice. It's available to you no matter how far behind you feel. Every single morning, you get to decide what kind of person you want to be. And it doesn't have to be dramatic. Just decide to stop making the same excuse. Decide to take a different action. Decide to respond with maturity instead of emotion. That's what growth looks like. Quiet decisions made daily. Here's what most people don't want to admit. When you blame your life, you stay in the same place. It doesn't fix anything. It doesn't change the past. It doesn't improve the present. It just keeps you angry and stuck. But when you say, "This is mine to change," you activate a part of yourself that's been asleep. The part that wants to fight for something better. The part that doesn't want to live in the same cycle anymore. That part is always there, but it only shows up when you stop pointing fingers and start taking charge. Ownership is not about perfection. You're still going to mess up, but now you'll learn, you'll adjust, you'll grow. Because you've made yourself the one who's responsible for the outcome. Everything starts with that shift. No more blaming your mood, your past, your surroundings, your boss, your parents, your partner, your phone, your genetics, or the weather. It's not about them, it's about you. What are you choosing to do with what you've been given? That question is powerful, because once you answer it with honesty, everything becomes possible. You stop needing approval. You stop needing perfect conditions. You stop needing other people to change first. You just move. And when you move with that kind of ownership, you build a life that no one else can take from you. Not because it's perfect, but because it's yours. Every decision, every habit, every lesson, you earned it. So here's the truth. If you want to get 1% better every day, the first step is this. Own your choices. Stop blaming your life. Stop waiting for someone else to do the work. You do it. You take responsibility. You fix the habits. You break the patterns. You face what needs to be faced. That's where progress begins. Not in information, not in inspiration, but in ownership. Because once you take ownership, you can't be stopped. You become the type of person who builds their life one choice at a time. And before you know it, those 1% choices turn into real change. You feel it in your energy. You see it in your results. And more than anything, you carry it in the way you live, not with blame, but with purpose. That's how transformation begins. And it starts with one decision. Own it all.
Chapter 3. Act now before overthinking kills your progress. Most people don't struggle because they're not smart enough or strong enough. They struggle because they're stuck in their head. They overthink every move. They ask too many questions. They look at every angle, and while they're busy thinking about what might go wrong, someone else is already doing the thing they're scared to start. Overthinking feels like progress, but it's just delay. It gives you the illusion that you're preparing, that you're being responsible, that you're being careful. But most of the time, you're just stalling. You're trying to avoid the discomfort of acting without having all the answers. But in life, you rarely get all the answers before you begin. You figure things out as you go. That's how real progress works. You learn by doing, not by thinking about doing. You can spend your life planning the perfect moment, but it'll never come. There's no perfect moment. There's only now. And the more time you spend debating with yourself, the less energy you have to actually move forward. The window closes. Your energy fades. Your belief drops. You become your own barrier. Action doesn't just move your goals forward, it shuts down the doubts. It silences the noise. The moment you take action, your focus shifts from fear to movement. You stop wondering what if, and start creating what's next. That shift in energy is everything. It's where momentum begins. You don't need to know everything. You just need to start with what you do know, and build from there. Overthinking usually shows up when you want things to be perfect. You want to make the right decision. You want to avoid failure. But what you're really doing is trying to avoid discomfort. And that discomfort is a necessary part of growth. You don't grow by playing it safe. You grow by taking calculated risks, learning through failure, adjusting, and trying again. The truth is, the people who succeed aren't the ones who waited until they were 100% ready. They're the ones who were willing to begin when they were only 60% sure. They gave themselves permission to figure things out along the way. You have to be willing to move before you feel fully prepared. That's the only way you'll ever build the strength you're looking for. Some of the greatest opportunities in life are missed, not because someone else took them, but because the person who had the chance overthought it. They talked themselves out of it. They said, "What if I fail? Or what if people judge me? Or what if it doesn't work?" But the real question is, what if it does work? What if this one action leads to something you can't even imagine yet? You'll never find out if you keep living inside your mind. Your thoughts are meant to guide you, not trap you. They should help you make choices, not delay them forever. Thinking becomes toxic when it keeps you frozen. It steals time. It robs you of experience. It convinces you to stay still when you should be moving. You don't need to have everything sorted out. You don't need all the pieces. You don't even need full confidence. You just need enough courage to take the first real step. And once you take it, things start to change. You gain feedback. You gain awareness. You start to see what's real, instead of what you imagined. Most of the fear we carry comes from scenarios that don't even exist. They live in our imagination. They're built from doubt, not facts. And once you act, that fear shrinks. Because now, you're dealing with reality. You're learning, you're adapting. And that's where growth lives. It lives in the moment you stop thinking and start doing. You've got time, but not forever. The clock is ticking, whether you act or not. So the question is, how much longer will you let your thoughts hold you back from living the life you want? There's a cost to overthinking, and it's paid in missed chances, delayed progress, and regret. You can't afford to keep playing that game. At some point you've got to say, enough, enough worrying, enough delaying, enough hiding behind preparation. It's time to make a move, not a perfect one, just a real one, even if it's small, even if it's messy. The point is, you acted, and that separates you from the majority of people who are still waiting for the right time. You don't need to solve your whole life this week. You don't need to finish the race in one day. You just need to take the next honest step in front of you. One decision, one action, one change. That's how momentum builds, and momentum is the fuel that keeps progress alive. You can read all the books. You can watch all the videos. You can listen to every podcast. But until you act, nothing changes. Action is the proof that you're serious. It's the language of real commitment. People who take action, even imperfect action, build belief. They start to trust themselves because they're doing what most people won't. They're moving, they're adjusting, they're learning, and they're getting better every single day. The more you wait, the harder it gets. You give your mind more time to create doubts. You give your fear more space to grow. You start imagining everything that could go wrong. And pretty soon, You've convinced yourself to stay exactly where you are. That's how overthinking kills progress. It doesn't happen all at once. It happens slowly, quietly, one delay at a time, until you look up and realize a year has passed, and you're still in the same place. Don't let that happen. Don't give your future away to fear. Don't trade your potential for comfort. You're not here to think your life away. You're here to live it. And living requires action. Living requires movement. Living requires risk. If you want a different life, you have to take different steps. Most people don't fail because they took the wrong step. They fail because they didn't take any. You don't need permission to begin. You don't need more time to think. You need to decide that today is the day you stop waiting. Stop preparing endlessly. Stop doubting everything. Take the step. Make the call. Start the task. Hit send. Say yes. Say no. Whatever it is, do it. And don't just do it once. Keep doing it. Because the more you act, the more momentum you build. The more you wait, the heavier life feels. There's freedom on the other side of action. The kind of freedom that only comes when you stop thinking and start choosing. You're capable of more than you realize. But you'll never access that potential through endless reflection. You have to live your way into clarity. You have to walk into the unknown, learn through the experience, and adjust as you go. The best version of you isn't hiding in your thoughts. It's hiding in your actions. The more steps you take, the more you reveal who you really are. You don't find yourself through thinking. You build yourself through doing. So if you want to grow, stop overthinking your next move and just take it. The road will reveal itself as you walk, and before long, you'll look